Hello everyone and welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Sarah Roche and today we are going to be focusing on the flipped classroom and looking specifically at Office 365 and building a site in order to plan and organize as well as collaborate with your class. So I'll give you a chance to settle in and I'll also have a chance to flip over to the presentation so we can get started. Okay, so as you're settling in, please remember that if you want to ask questions, you can use the document link that was provided, as well as going on Twitter or Yammer and just using the hashtag DBChat. So that way we can find your questions and answer you back. Have one tab open with the video itself and one to collaborate. And remember that you do not need to take notes because everything is stored on our YouTube channel, which is DPCD SB Chats. We begin taking a look at flipping our classroom. We want to think of basically that the activity and the direct instruction is now being done at home. So the students watch lectures at home at their own pace, and basically the teacher has designed a video for the students in order to interact with the content at home and learn it. They can have discussions or questionnaires or small quizzes that will help lead the teacher in understanding the instruction itself and be able to come back to the classroom and then use the concepts they've learned and engage with it. So now they can take everything they learned at home, like that homework piece. They can have discussions either with the teacher or with their peers at home, depending how it's set up, or just small little questionnaires to practice the content. And then they come back with that skill and they engage within an activity with their classmates or on their own, all depending on how it's set up. So now we're seeing that the teacher's role is really a guide. They're coaching them through it. So as we take a look at the Catholic graduate expectations, we begin to prepare our learners to be self-directed, responsible, lifelong learners, as well as responsible citizens. So really when we take the look at the flipped classroom, the students now are really taking ownership of their learning and they're accountable for what they do at home because they have to come back and be able to use that content and information to guide their learning journey. So they're informing their own knowledge and they're building that construction, and then they have to be responsible and self-directed enough to come back and use that and continue learning in the class atmosphere. Here's a video I just want to show you. It's a quick 2 minutes. It shows you a model of the flipped classroom. You get to take a peek into a classroom and what it looks like. And Aaron Sams, who is one of the pioneers of the flipped classroom, kind of gives you a chance to see how he uses it and explains why he uses it.
I'm Aaron Sams, and I teach science here at Woodland Park High School. My ultimate goal, I guess, as a teacher is to help students become learners who can learn for themselves and by themselves. One of the problems that I was guilty of even prior to flipping my classroom around was the classroom was centered around me. I told them exactly what to learn, how to learn it, what assignments to do to learn it, and when to learn it, and how to prove to me that they learned it. I don't do that anymore. We changed the place in which content is delivered. Instead of standing in front of a class and delivering, here's how you do this type of problem, here's how this works, I deliver that direct instruction now asynchronously at home through these videos that we make with Camtasia Studio. Times till whole.
Oh, we didn't do that last time.
The last step, they were already whole numbers. We had 1, 1, and 4. Here we don't have a whole number. So here's a few little tricks when you need to multiply by whole numbers. If one of your numbers ends in 0.5, you're going to multiply by 2.
Something 0.5 times it by 2.
Right.
Okay, write this down, guys.
Yes. If something ends in 0.3 or 0.33 or 0.66, you multiply by 3. And when the kids come to class, they don't show up to learn new stuff. They show up to apply the things that they learn at home and to ask me questions about the things they learned at home. So now they can have my lesson, if you will, what I would normally have stood up and lectured to them in class with some added features. They get that at home. Then what they were expected to do for homework is now what they do in my class. life is different for me because I no longer am the guy who stands up in the front of the classroom and just yaks at a student for an hour or however long the class is. Now I walk around the class and I help kids. I'm a tutor, I'm a guide, I'm the putter outer of fires, whatever it happens to be. In my crazy chemistry class, I walk around and do that. I don't stand up front and teach under the kind of the traditional model. I'm Aaron Sams. I'm a teacher. I'm a dad. I'm a husband.
So it gives you a little bit of sense of what that looks like and how they really come back into the classroom and begin to engage. We're going to give you a little sense of where you can go now and be able to put your content. Last week, we talked about the screencasting and building those videos. So we want to talk about what we do with those videos and how we get our students collaborating with that information. We are going to take a look at Office 365 sites. And we're going to specifically look at an example here and see how it connects to the idea of the flipped classroom. There are many tools that are embedded and that can be added to your site in order to enhance the organization and the collaboration, as well as the assessment piece within a flipped classroom. So the first thing you see as we come in is the fact that we can embed our videos. So one way, if you are working with something that's already a link, and so if you have screencasted and uploaded it to YouTube, then you can embed a link, as you've seen I've done here. The next thing you could do is you have the option on your sites to have a documents area. You could always have a folder that had the screencasts or the MP4s downloaded in here. So the students could come to the documents and be able to go into the folder and find the video that they were looking for. The other thing that you can add into it is the idea of a news feed. So if students have questions or they're not sure what to do next, or depending on your task, they could put up some sort of wondering or idea after watching the video. You could use this news feed for a few different options. A lot of the reasons that I'm finding that teachers are using this is when students have lingering questions or the peers are helping out each other. So it's not always now the teacher's responsibility, it's also the student's responsibility to work with their peers to figure out the answers. Along the side here, you can see that there's a few things embedded. One thing embedded is a notebook, so I could have the students working through content in a notebook. I also have tasks. So if I have the tasks embedded, when I go into that, you can see there's a few things that I can do. So one of them is we can create assignments and really help organize the students so they can see the name of the task, they can see when the due date is, and they can also see who it's assigned to. So if you're assigning certain projects to students, or maybe they're becoming the experts on particular topics, then you may use this to specify, what to watch, what their task is, what they need to do from that point after watching the video. It's quite simple in the fact that you just add a new task, and then you're able to say the task name, start date, due date, and you're able to specifically either put groups and students, email addresses, or just their names. So you're able to really modify that part there, which will help organize not only the students, but you as the teacher when you're trying to remember what you're creating, your assignments, and being able to follow the students' progress. Most importantly, it's being able to keep up with the students' progress and where they're at, specifically when they're doing their work outside of class. They also have the function of the calendar. So they can come into tasks and see specifically what they need to do, but if they want just an overall, you could come in, and I just quickly kind of put in this idea, but they'll be able to see either if you're putting in your videos, right? You could add in your videos and say, watch this video on this day, and put in your content. So they're able to understand the structure of the learning as well, because the content and the knowledge construction is happening outside of the classroom. Really, when we are designing it, there's always the name up at the top and bring you right back to the home page. So students can have links to separate parts within and organization tools within Office 365, but you can also edit and add links to different parts of the web. So maybe you want a D2L link, or possibly you have specific simulations that you want the students to examine. You may add these sites to the side here as well. There's a lot of customization to a site, and you can have it as simple or as complex as you wish it to be. When beginning to create a site, you're going to sign into your DB Cloud, and you're going to go to the Sites SharePoint option. In here, you will see sites that you may already be following or sites that you've created. You may be tempted to create a site when you first see these two icons at the top. But what we are creating when we come into Office 365 is subsites. So we actually need to go to a different location in order to create that. So when you come into sites, you can go up to this little gear, and this will then bring up a menu. Go to Site Contents, and you can see when I scroll down to the bottom, it'll ask me if I want to create a new subsite. It'll also show me the sites that I have already designed in Office 365. So if you want another place to go, you can go there by going into Site Contents. Here we're going to create a new one. So usually the title here would be something to do with your course or the section, possibly part of your name may be in there, so students would be able to easily access the website and tell it apart from other classes if they do have sites that go along with other courses. The description here itself could be the section, the teacher, whatever it is that you wish. And the URL generally is the same as the title itself, so students are able to easily access it. When you're creating a website for Flipped Classroom, we create a team website. And as we begin to scroll down, it begins to ask you about permissions and navigations. When taking a closer look at the permissions, if you choose unique permissions, this means that you have a little bit more control as to who comes into your website, what the students may be viewing or editing, and what they're doing when they get in there. So one of the great things about this is that you can actually create unique permissions so that only your students on the course itself or within the course itself are coming into your website. This leaves it a little bit more closed to the Office 365 world, where if you leave it the same permissions as parent site, that means that anyone on the board can come within and read what's happening in the newsfeed, see the documents that are being placed up. So sometimes when creating the unique permissions, in fact, it just creates that safer environment where students can come in and collaborate, and you as the teacher can do the same. The navigation, I generally leave this as the same as I see it here, because you can go in and change it around and move with this. So I just say display the site on the top link bar of the parent site. So really they can always come and find it. So they're able to display the site at the top when they're moving through, and I prefer to use that. But for the most part, I think the most important thing here is being able to choose the name and deciding whether or not you want the permissions itself. When we go into the create, one of the great things about sites is that it's quite easy to work with. The ease of use and design, it's already there. So if we take a look here, it leads you through it. One of the great things is that you see some things already in place here. One thing that's already put in is the newsfeed. So we know that we can just begin a conversation or invite more people to the site and start a conversation. This is already embedded. So there's not too much work in itself that you have to do there. As well, the Documents app is also embedded within every site when you begin it. So you can decide when you press the new whether or not you want to create folders, some for your screencasts, others for possible, student Dropbox, uh, another one possibly for additional readings or readings that you may want to be adding in. And you can also be adding Excels, or the students themselves can be opening up a Word file, writing a reflection for you, and uploading it right to the site itself. So there's a lot of different functions that you can work with when you're considering the Documents app within the sites. Another great thing that you already see here is that there's already links along the side. So when I first open it up, I can go into my documents here. It also has a notebook. So the notebook, I'm just going to click this off. So the notebook itself is, you're able to embed and add in your content of your course. So this could be your class notes, your assignments, your rubrics, different things that really could help build the knowledge construction of your students' understanding, and something that they could go to and use as they're working through the action part in class. Because they'll be so engaged in class, there's a lot of great things that we can do with a website. We can add a lot of great resources that are going to help lead their learning. The other great thing about this is that you can edit and add links. So here, all you really have to do is just say you want to put in the PhET simulation. So you want to put in some simulation website. I'd put in my simulations, and then I would type in my address or copy and paste in my address, press OK, and it would automatically be added to this bar along the side here. In some of the options, they also have the edit links up at the top, but not all of them. But it all depends on your style and design. So when considering your style and design, it's quite easy itself. What's your style? Oh, I'm going to save my changes. There we go. And it gives you a bunch of different options. So some of them you can see already that they have sections along the top that you can do. And the design is quite elaborate. So I'm just going to go into here, and it gives you the idea of the color palette that you want to use, possibly what type of writing you wish to stick to. You can choose that. So it really gives you a little bit of leeway when it comes to the design here. But there's a lot of different options in the way you might want to look it out, try it out and design it. So here I'm just going to try it out, just so you can get a sense of what it looks like. It doesn't take too long as it begins to create this for you. So when it is created, you are going to see the ability to go in and then edit. All you have to do now when we come to this page is be able to click on the titles and be able to edit it. So let's say, yes, let's keep it so I can show you what that looks like. There we go. So already you can see, as simple as I can go in, upload, choose a file. And if I want to do a couple, I'm just pressing Shift and down, choosing them, placing them in, and you can see how quick they really upload and go into there. You can start a conversation and post it, and you can choose a file if you want something. Maybe they're focusing on something in particular and trying to figure out, maybe they're answering questions on a particular diagram or a quote that's put up. Here I just put something that I just grabbed. I just wanted you to see the possibilities here. So it's not just the idea now of text, but then enhancement that they can add in pictures and things, and they can reply to it, they can make comments to it, so that they are critiquing one another's work and talking to one another all in the same. So it's not only now the teacher's job to lead the learning, but also the peers working together to lead their own learning. You also see the ability that if you want to edit your links, you can put links up above at the top as well as on the side. So here we see, save it, cancel it, that it has the ability here to edit links and edit along here. So I'm just going to come back here. At this point, you can continue working with your styles. You can remove this if you wish. It doesn't need to be. If you're just beginning and designing a simple form, then you may be keeping this in just till you get used to the idea of designing with the website. If you do want to embed a video, I go to the edit here up at the top, and I go into insert. Here, it allows you to embed pictures. So if you want to embed a picture into your website and begin designing, you can see that I can also design within here. I can also choose to use an embed code, and whoops, it won't do it with that one, but I can choose an embed code. And then when I have my embed code, I can just paste it into here. So one thing, if I can just show you quickly, if you're not sure what an embed code may look like, if you are working within YouTube, if I just go into something quickly, when you go into the share, if you are in YouTube, you'll see an option to share. This is just a link, but if you go into embed, you can then copy that link there and bring it over and paste it. You'll see it come up, and then I've inserted it. So I've put it right into there. So you can see that it's really not too difficult to be able to work around it. You just got to get used to the different editing and where to find everything. So the more you work with it, the more that you'll be able to customize and feel a more ease of use when it comes to using the tools. But really, some of it is just playing around with it and getting used to what that looks like and saving it, and making your mistakes and rebuilding each step of the way, and what you want your website to look like, and what you as a teacher feel comfortable with, but what your students are responding to as well. The other thing you can do with edit is you can choose your text layout, whether you want 2 columns, 3 columns. You want to begin to separate, so you see how things begin to kind of customize within there, what you want your titles to look like. You can still go in and change the size of your text within this point. So there is a few different features that you can begin to play around with that are quite simple. And when just thinking of the idea of a flipped classroom, you really just want the ability to share the knowledge and have a discussion space for the students, as well as possibly a place that they can drop some reflections or assignments or additional readings that may help, or resources with their construction of the concept that you are trying to teach. So thanks so much for joining us today. I'm just going to come back to you. Here we go. Hi. So hopefully you were able to learn a thing or two about incorporating sites with our flipped classroom. If not, just being able to begin designing the site and seeing what that looks like with collaboration and organization within your classroom. Thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we see you in the next couple of weeks. Have a great day.